Live. We are live. I'm Dr. Frita, and welcome. It's Medical Monday, where we give you all of the hot health topics in the headlines. And boy, do we have a show today. Let's start off with my favorite game, Myth versus Fact, where we'll talk about RFK Jr. versus ultra-processed foods. I'll give you some myth versus fact. You tell me, and then I'll tell you, and we'll learn together. And then I'll give you your weekly dose, where I give you a fresh take on the hot health headlines that you won't get anywhere else. We'll start off talking about BBLs. Yes, we will. Can you be too old to get a BBL? Well, the rumors are just swirling all around about Vivica Fox. She is 60 years old. She's fabulous, but reportedly she had a BBL. Now, to my knowledge, Vivica Fox has denied this, but there are some photos that look quite BBL-ish. Anyway, we'll get into the discussion. Can you be too old to get a BBL? We'll talk about the benefits of BBLs, the risks of BBLs, and what you need to know if you are considering getting one. And then we'll also talk about a story where the BBL didn't go so well for a very young lady who traveled to get one. Next, we'll talk about Brandi Glanville. You know Brandi. She's one of the Real Housewives alums, and she reportedly, according to her, has a facial parasite that jumps from one side of her face to another, gives her a sour taste in her mouth. We'll talk about facial parasites. We'll talk about stress-induced angioedema, and we'll say a word about fillers as well. And then guess what? March is Kidney Disease Awareness Month. You know I'm a board-certified kidney doctor, and so I'll give you the top 5 ways to protect your kidneys. And then we'll talk about Wendy Williams. Y'all know she's one of my favorite topics, and I'm definitely a fan. How you doing? Well, y'all heard Wendy Williams went to the hospital where she aced a capacity exam, even though her guardian said that she is permanently incapacitated. Anyway, we'll talk about what that means to ace a capacity test and where does Wendy go from here. Will she be more independent? I don't know. Lastly, I'll give you your 5-minute health check where I'll just run through things like foods or medicines that have been recalled, different health warnings that are on the horizon. I'll give you that. And then if we have a moment, we'll do a quick little live Q&A. But if you really want to do a full live Q&A, you know you need to join the membership. We're having a great time. You can click the link in the description. All right, I've held you long enough. Let's get into these evidence-based health headlines. I'm Dr. Frita. This is Medical Monday. Give us a like as you come into the room. Hello, hello. I'm Dr. Frita. We are live, and this is Medical Monday, giving you all of the hot health headlines that have made the news. You know I don't do it alone. Let me welcome my practice manager and my co-host, Miss Shador. Come on to the stage, Shador.
Hey, Dr. Frita.
How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you? See, you had your green on.
Yes, why I do. The luck of the Irish. Child, you know I just like to, I'll just join the festivity. Why not? Yes, I have on my green today. And Shador, I had on my green this past Saturday when I got a chance to be on Good Day Atlanta again for Health Headlines with Dr. Frita. I'll be posting that this week, maybe even today, where I talked about hot health headlines with the journalist and my friend, Caitlin Pratt. We had a good old time. And then Shador, later on that Saturday, I got a chance to volunteer. You know, I love volunteering. And I was with the Links in Athens, Georgia, where we did our Black Wellness Health Expo. I got a chance to do my Ask Dr. Frita booth. So that was a good time. That was a very good time. How was your weekend, Shador?
Weekend went pretty well. Skipped baseball practice. We had a birthday party to go to. 1-year-old cousin. Oh, no, 4, actually. He turned 4. We went to Tiny Town.
Oh, that's fun.
Cars and train and whatnot.
So, yeah. I never took my kids there. That was one of the things on the bucket list. But now, look, my tallest kid is 5'10". I guess they're past Tiny Town.
They technically still go. They say for all ages.
Oh, good. Everybody had fun?
Yeah, everybody had a good time.
Let me tell you something. The little kids in your family have a better social calendar than everybody. I do believe.
I believe so.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what's on the calendar, Shador. First things first, these hot health topics. Let's start off with my favorite game, Myth versus Fact. But first, who was the first person in the chat? In the chat, please write where you are watching from. Let us know.
Absolutely. First person today, our member, Miss Kim.
Hey, Miss Kim, thank you for being a member. And of course, we will have our members only live Q&A. And also, as you know, Kim, we have our members only videos in the section once you become a member. And for those of you who are new to our channel, I am Dr. Frita. I'm an MD. I'm a medical doctor who has been board certified in nephrology, meaning I'm a kidney doctor and a high blood pressure doctor. I've also been board certified in internal medicine, pediatrics, and obesity medicine. And so I like to learn a lot and I like to share a lot. And if you take advantage of this membership at the highest tier, then you'll get a chance to come in for a full session of a live Q&A. We give you a link. You can come to the stage. You can ask questions back and forth, and you could take advantage of all this good old medical learning I love to do. If you become a member at any tier, we definitely appreciate you. You'll get emojis, custom emojis, loyalty badges, and you'll get access to members only videos. All right. So let's get started with my favorite game, myth versus fact. Y'all, let's talk about RFK Jr. versus ultra processed foods. All right, Shador.
All right. Our first statement. Ultra processed foods are the leading cause of obesity in America.
All right. Put an M1 if that's a myth. Put an F1 if that's a fact. Are ultra processed foods the leading cause of obesity in America? M1 if that's a myth. F1 if it's a fact. Jack. All right. Myth versus fact number 2, Shador, please.
Food companies use different ingredients in Europe versus America.
M2 if this is a myth. F2 if this is a fact. Are the same food companies using different ingredients depending on whether the foods are in Europe versus the United States? M2 if this is a myth. F2 if this is a fact. All right, pencils down. Okay, Shador, what answers did we get for the first myth versus fact statement?
All right, Dr. Frita. So overwhelmingly, we got all facts for the first one. Everyone chime in with a fact.
They said that ultra processed foods are the #1 cause of obesity in America. All right, who said this is a fact?
I can see clearly.
I can see clearly now. Hey, I can see clearly.
Sheree.
Hi, Sheree. Welcome back. Welcome back also.
Miss Marilyn.
Hi, Miss Marilyn.
Francis.
Hello, hello. So everyone said it's a fact that ultra processed foods are the #1 cause. Interesting.
Everyone says it's a fact.
All right. Well, here's the answer. It's a myth. It's a myth. It's a myth. Now, don't get me wrong. Ultra processed foods are definitely a leading cause of obesity. In fact, if you eat ultra processed foods, that can increase your risk of obesity by 55%. However, it's actually multifactorial. So we don't just blame it on ultra processed foods alone. Genetics play a factor. Certainly lifestyle will play a factor, and socioeconomic status. If you don't have access to fresh foods, whole foods, being able to go to Sprouts, grow your own food in your garden. If you don't have access to those things, then that can lead to obesity. So while yes, ultra processed foods definitely is a high cause as far as obesity, it's multifactorial. There's lots of reasons for it. All right, let's go to myth versus fact number 2.
Food companies use different ingredients in Europe versus America.
Now I'm curious at this answer.
Again.
Okay, what we have?
Facts across the board, Dr. Frita.
All right, I want to hear some of the folks. Any of the same ones come back with the fact?
Yes, the same ones and some new ones as well. Miss Brenda says
Brenda.
Fact.
Okay.
Peggy.
Hi, Peggy.
Lisa.
Hey there, Lisa.
Girl, you better.
Girl, you better. All right.
I remember Miss Rosalind.
Hey, thank you for being a member, Miss Rosalind.
And join us from Facebook. Miss Sherry says the fact.
Hey, welcome from Facebook. Everybody from Facebook, please go ahead and share it. This is our first week live streaming from Facebook. So thank you for joining us. Yeah, share the word. All right. So all these folks said that it's a fact that food companies will give different ingredients on Europe versus the United States.
Yes, ma'am.
Drum roll. You are correct. It's a fact. It's a fact. Let me tell you something. It makes me mad because a lot of countries in Europe have stricter regulations for the health of their people than we do right here in the United States. So for food coloring, for example, a lot of the same companies will use natural food colorings in Europe because of the regulations, whereas here they will use artificial and even potentially cancer-causing food colorings. And we talked about red dye number 3 as a potential cancer-causing agent. We've known it for decades, yet we're just now getting some regulation in red dye number 3. It's still in the foods legally right now. It hasn't gone into full effect. And so everyone who said fact, you are absolutely correct. In the United States, where we're supposed to be the leaders of the free world, we're the ones who still are allowing a lot of dangerous dyes and chemicals in our foods. The companies know that. A lot of times these artificial chemicals are cheaper, but they'll spend the extra cash because they're required to in Europe, where they have to use natural food colorings and a lot less harmful ingredients in the foods. All right. So let's talk some more about ultra processed foods. Y'all know, I keep RFK Jr. in my mouth because he's the head of HHS. And historically, he has been against a lot of the medical data. We know that he has had lots of anti-vaccine sentiments. This is documented. This is proven. He's been behind certain documentaries targeted toward Black communities, trying to get them to have less vaccines. Even in his Senate hearing, he falsely stated that the research supported that Black people should be on a different vaccine schedule than white people. That's absolutely false. The author of the study he was referring to, Dr. Gregory Poland, came out after the hearing and refuted the statement of RFK Jr. Okay, just to give you an idea, because you know I'm about evidence-based medicine. And so when I hear falsehoods, that makes me upset. At any rate, one place I will agree with RFK Jr. on is his battle against ultra-processed foods. He wants to try to decrease them in our diets. He wants to try to, he has to go through the FDA, the Food and Safety Department, to do so. And it's no small task, and I'll tell you why. When you deal with FDA as far as food and safety, there's not a huge budget at all. As far as drugs are concerned, we get a lot of our money from user fees that are charged to the pharmaceutical companies that want their drugs approved. And so we have a much higher budget when it comes to drugs. But when it comes to food and safety, we only have $25 million that are dedicated to chronic disease, food safety, nutrition, things like that. And so 25 million, okay, to the average person, that's a whole lot of money. But when it comes to a budget for something like food safety, it's not a lot at all. And so, but that's something he's taken on, that he wants us to have more natural foods, more whole foods. And so that is good. I do agree with RFK Jr. on that. I do want to make a point, though. By no means has he been the first person to tackle food safety and artificial ingredients and ultra processed foods. Our former First Lady, Michelle Obama. Y'all remember her initiative, Let's Move? Well, First Lady Michelle Obama also was a champion for the Healthier, Hunger-Free Act of 2010, which was eventually passed in legislation as law by 2013. And this is where she was, making sure that there was enough funding to give healthy, whole foods in schools. Also, you'll note that she had it so that the vending machines were less accessible as far as ultra processed foods for children, that milk, instead of whole milk, there was more 2% milk, fat-free milk that was available. She had a limit for children. These are some of the things that she proposed and implemented: a limit for the amount of sugar in the foods that were accessed in school. She wanted more fruits and vegetables, all of those things, in addition to children moving their bodies as well as adults. And so, yes, I am in agreement with RFK Jr. and his battle against ultra processed foods. And we also know that we got things started with First Lady Michelle Obama. I just wanted to make a note of that. Now, what in the world are ultra processed foods? In the chat, I want y'all to give me some examples of ultra processed foods. And in doing so, give me the ultra processed foods, plus give me a food swap of something healthier that people can try. Okay. So give me an ultra processed food and give me a food swap while I talk about what ultra processed foods actually are. So ultra processed foods are foods that are high in salt, high in added sugar, high in calories, low in fiber, and they had a lot of unnatural ingredients that you really can't pronounce very easily unless you've had about 10 degrees. And even then you might have some trouble pronouncing some of the things that are in the foods. They have a lot of chemicals that are not found in nature, chemicals that you're not going to find in your typical garden. And the problem is this, y'all. In the United States, ultra-processed foods make up over 70% of our foods, okay? Over 70% of the foods in the United States and America are ultra-processed foods. And when you think about these children and teens, the children and teens that First Lady Michelle Obama was targeting, 2/3 of their diets consist of ultra-processed foods. So why is this a problem? Well, we've had huge studies to show us that ultra-processed foods can lead to early death. There's one really big one. It was a meta-analysis that looked at over 45 different studies, 10 million people in the studies, and it found that ultra-processed foods increased your risk for obesity by 55%, which is why a lot of you put that it was a fact that it was the number one cause of obesity, but there's other things that cause obesity as well. But yes, it increases your risk for obesity. It increases your risk of dying from a cardiovascular disease by 50%. Ultra-processed foods increase your risk for sleep disorders by 41%. They increase your risk for diabetes type 2 by 40%. And they increase your risk for early death in general by 20%. Okay. So y'all get the point. Ultra-processed foods are a problema. So let's talk about some of the ultra-processed foods and some potential swaps. I know y'all chimed in the chat. Come on, what do we have? What are some ultra-processed foods and what might you suggest for folks on Facebook watching us, for my regulars here on the live on YouTube, and for everybody in the replay crew?
All right, Miss Paula chimed in. She says lunch meat would be ultra-processed and we can use real chicken.
Very good, very good. And that's a trip, Miss Paula, because when you think, oh, I'm going to have a turkey sandwich, and you go and you get your packaged, turkey, you might think that that's totally healthy, and it might be, better than some other choices. But yeah, a lot of these deli meats are ultra processed, really high in salt. Like 2 ounces of deli turkey, a prepackaged deli turkey, 2 ounces might have over 500 milligrams of salt. And we know that according to the American Heart Association, it's recommended that most adults have no more than 1,500 milligrams of salt in 24 hours. So can you imagine in a sandwich with 2 ounces of turkey, that's already a third of the daily requirement. And y'all put more than 2 ounces in your turkey sandwiches. So absolutely, a swap would be fresh meat. So instead of getting the deli meat prepackaged turkey, getting turkey that's in water, okay? Something that's in water, or just having fresh chicken, fresh turkey, fresh fish that you cook yourself, where it's not pre-processed, not in all of that salt. So that's a good swap. Who is that, Miss Paula?
Miss Paula, yes, ma'am.
All right, that's a good one. Anyone else with a diet swap?
So Lisa, she mentioned frozen foods as ultra processed.
That is true. A lot of frozen foods have preservatives, and they have some of these chemicals that we're talking about. And so that's true. And that's why I mentioned how even when people are trying to be healthy and like they have the pre-packaged frozen vegan meats or meat substitutes, you have to watch it because sometimes they're not so healthy. And one of the examples is when you're talking about vegan breakfast sausage. 2 vegan breakfast sausage links have 300 milligrams of sodium, and depending on the brand, they often have a lot of chemicals. And so a swap would be to make your own vegan meats, trying tofu, depending, or trying things like a grain. Some people use gluten, but we know gluten has its own controversy. But checking out recipes for making your own fresh vegan meats instead of just using the prepackaged. I know that prepackaged vegan chicken nuggets, I've looked at the ingredients, ultra processed. And so that still can increase your risk for early death, even though you're trying to be healthy. So that's a good one. Thank you.
All right.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so a lot of people, Miss Francis is saying hot dogs and sausages.
Do y'all know hot dogs? Even the beef hot dogs, and y'all, I ain't gonna even lie, a beef hot dog tastes good, y'all. If you look at the ingredients, just go ahead and get yourself a thesaurus. Hot dogs are pre-processed. They're pre-processed, loaded with salt, loaded with preservatives, and so they are in that list of the foods that can increase your risk for obesity, diabetes, early death, and so forth. Now, what did she say? Did she offer a swap?
No, she did not offer a swap.
Okay, but again, the fresh meat, instead of having a beef hot dog, if you want beef, get yourself a lean beef. And no, it's not going to taste the same as a hot dog, but at least you're getting a protein, and you can get something that's lean, not a lot of fat, not add all the salt, and you can, have that as a substitute. Okay, but yeah, but you're right. Hot dogs are ultra processed.
All right. Lolita, she says Cheetos would be ultra processed, and the swap would be whole wheat or almond crackers.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. I love a good alternative. Very good. Do you know what else is a swap for Cheetos? I know it's not going to taste exactly the same, but if you have that kind of, just want something savory and crunchy, doing kale chips, right? You could do them in your air fryer where you get the kale, use olive oil, put garlic on there, even a little cayenne pepper. Hey, y'all, I love me a little high, spicy cayenne pepper. You can put that on there, put it in the air fryer, and you get that crispiness, that savory taste. No, it's not the same taste as Cheetos, but it is a nice swap. That's a healthier alternative as well. But yeah, nuts, unsalted nuts, things like that give you that crunchy kind of satisfaction. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, Alicia, she's calling out the names here. She says ultra processed would be McDonald's or fast foods.
Woo, she just took the whole fast food industry down. But you know what? And if ever you've worked at a fast food restaurant, or if you looked in the back, then you see all that meat that's already put together in the perfect shape. I remember they used to have the McRib at McDonald's. There were no bones in it, but it was shaped up like bones and all of that. Yes, that's pre-processed. I know some fast food restaurants, just to give them a little break, do offer salads and things of that nature, or wraps where instead of bread, you can use lettuce as the wrap, or just a thin kind of lower carbohydrate option. Some fast food restaurants do have more whole food options, but by and large, fast food loaded down with ultra processed food for the most part. Absolutely. And you know, the alternative is to cook at home. One of the big dilemmas is cost, right? It's easier said than done, because I mean, this could be a short segment. Hey, everybody, go grow your own food, buy whole foods, buy fresh foods, eat them at home. Bye. That's a convenience issue, efficiency issue, and mostly a money issue. If you're on a fixed income, like we talked about earlier or last week here on the live, you have some people currently in power in the White House and on Capitol Hill who are trying to take away the money for what used to be called food stamps or SNAP or EBT. They're trying to take away that money. But if you are trying to live on $7 per person per day, it will be difficult to afford some of these whole foods. So one of the biggest things that we need to target as far as our legislation is making whole, healthy foods more affordable. Meanwhile, ultra processed foods are cheap. They're easy. They make up 70% of the US diet. And so we'll see how RFK Jr. does in fighting ultra processed foods. We'll definitely hold him accountable, as we do all politicians. Yeah. All right. Thank y'all for your participation. I like that. I like those diet swaps. All right. Now it's time for the weekly dose. It's time for the weekly dose. Please be sure to go ahead and give us a like and a share. Okay. Facebook. Hey, y'all. Give us a share, please. Let people know that we're here and that they can always watch us in the replay as well. And those of you in the replay crew, please give us a share as well and a like. It's a free way to support the channel. And, you know, on YouTube, very proud to say that we have over 840,000 subscribers. We give evidence-based information. I have hundreds and hundreds of videos that you'll be able to enjoy on Facebook as well. And y'all know, those of y'all on Facebook, you see a lot of my short form content. I also have it on Facebook. And yeah. All right. But yeah, give us a like, please, as we move into our next section. What's it? Your weekly dose. Okay. I'm about to give you your weekly dose, where I give you a fresh take on these medical hot health topics you won't get anywhere else. BBLs. Shador, we're going to talk about BBLs.
Okay.
The first question I want to pose to everyone on YouTube, on Facebook, my replay crew: can you be too old to get a BBL? Yes or no? And give me some details. What's the age cutoff? Why do you think you can be too old? Is it, you know, what's your reasoning? Or are you just an ageist? How dare you? Can you be too old to get a BBL? All right, this is why I'm asking y'all. All right, Vivica A. Fox. Y'all know I love me some Vivica Fox. Set it off. She was even in the Cosby Show on some of those episodes back in the day. And, you know, she's an actress. And, oh, she was in Independence Day with Will Smith. That thing was a blockbuster. She's always around. She's always, you know, in pop culture. I like me some Vivica Fox. Well, there are some rumors spinning around, okay, just this past week, where she was, I think it was on March 13th, she was seen at an event. She had on some snug fitting white pants, and it appears as though she's had some buttock augmentation. It looks like a BBL. Now, to be fair, I have not heard Vivica Fox say that she's had a BBL. These are just the rumors that are swirling. And you know, the troll 50 Cent who's also her ex-boyfriend, had something to say about it. But please, Shador, go ahead and play the clip. Everyone, please look carefully and tell me if you think she had a BBL.
For us to have some fun together, take pictures. I'm not one of those celebrities that standoffish, that doesn't buy you in a hug, to say hey to the kids. Hey, Snoop, how you doing? And you too, hot baby? She said, oh, Lord, take me back. Okay. She'll warm up to me after a little while. And then we're going to have some fun. We're going to do some giveaways, right? We got giveaways, right? Yeah. Okay. What's up, DJ?
What's up, baby?
How you
Good, I'm good.
Yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, we don't have that happen. So, do we want to start with the ladies' performance?
BBL, Drizzy. All right. Can you be too old to get a BBL? We're going to talk about it. But first, I do want to know, I'll just put a yes or no at a glance. Does it look like to you she had a BBL? I know, we don't know. Does it look like she had a BBL? Just put yes or no. And then I'll get into the question of, can you be too old to have a BBL? All right. So what is a BBL? It's a Brazilian butt lift. Okay. And it occurs when you go to a plastic surgeon. Okay. Preferably a board certified plastic surgeon. And they remove fat generally from another part of your body, like your stomach, your back. Okay. And they do like a 360 liposuction. And so they get these cannulas, right? Almost like little straws. They suck the fat out. They purify the fat. Okay. They clean it. And then they inject it into your buttock area, under the skin, above the butt muscle. And they usually use about 300 to 500 cc's of fat. So if you think about a typical 16-ounce bottle of water, so up to a water bottle amount of fat in each buttock. Okay. They inject that usually more in the top part of your bottom than the middle. And it's to give you an appearance of a butt that is lifted, round, and full. Okay. Here's the issue. Even when it's done by a plastic surgeon, a board certified plastic surgeon, BBLs are still the most fatal cosmetic surgery we have, among the legal cosmetic surgeries. They are safer than butt shots, but butt shots are illegal. And so it can be an issue. So does anyone think that she's had a BBL? Yeah, I know it's not our business, but this is a hot health headline, and we're going to use it to talk about things that will help everyone to live healthier, happier lives. And can you be too old to get a BBL? Vivica Fox looks wonderful. She's 60 years old. Can you be too old to get a BBL? I know our opinionated med heads have something to say. Shador, what do they say?
So Miss Marilyn says her butt looks suspiciously plumper. It could be shorts with pads.
Miss Marilyn, I promise you, that's what I thought. The first thing I thought. Okay, a lot of people don't know this, especially if you're not a woman or if you don't dress like a woman, that there are these like panties or girdle-like outfits that have paddings to give you the appearance of a fuller, rounder buttock. And so that is possible. That's possible. I guess the way that paparazzi follows Vivica Fox around, we would know because we'll probably see her with different pictures with a flatter looking bottom. But that's a good point. And we don't know if she had a BBL. That's good.
Lisa says, I'm not sure because it can be her age and she's gaining weight.
Yeah, Lisa, I thought about that. But if you go back and look, her thighs actually look pretty thin. I would expect that if she gained that weight in her bottom, that the thighs and the hips would be proportionately bigger. But you're right. People gain weight in different places. And before there were BBLs, there actually were people with very big shelf bottoms. And I have a couple of friends and line sisters. Okay, I'm not going to call y'all out line sisters, but especially one. She's been accused of having a BBL, but we've been friends since we were 17. And unless y'all know of teenagers who were getting BBLs, even though we didn't have a whole lot of money, that is her bottom. But she's constantly being accused of a BBL. Yeah. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I remember Ms. Rosalind. Hey, Ms. Rosalind.
Hi, Ms. Rosalind.
Study shows there's no specific age for a BBL or plastic surgery, but she does believe that Vivica has had.
Ooh. Okay. So age in and of itself, you're saying, there's no age limit, nothing else. And if you think about it, with the more traditional plastic surgeries like facelifts or neck lifts or eyebrow things to lift your eyebrows, it's going to be women who are older, certainly, some, what, depending on different cultures will get plastic surgeries and facelifts earlier and earlier. I'm learning, like, really kind of early, but over 60, you do have a lot of women who are getting facelifts. And so there's no hard, fast rule. All right. Anyone else comment on, can you be too old to get a BBL?
Yeah, Francis says no.
Okay.
She don't think Vivica did anything as well.
Okay. And that's why I preface, we're using this just because it's in the headlines, and I am talking about safety of BBLs, but I'm not her doctor. I don't know her business. And if she denies having a BBL, I'm not refuting it. That butt was looking high in that picture, but you're right. There could be other reasons. Okay.
Oh, Sophie says it can be a faja with the butt lift area, FAJA.
Okay. So Sophie, so are you saying that you can be too old?
No, she said it could be she said a faja with the butt lift area. Maybe she did something with the butt lift area.
Interesting. Give me some more details on what you mean by that. Meanwhile, I'll talk about the age and the butt lift. And so though there's no hard set limit to age, of course,
girdle, Dr. Frita.
Okay. Oh, so a girdle, kind of like what we were talking about, some of those girdles or some of the underwear that have the pads that give you that lift. Okay. Listen, I was in a beauty pageant. I was in Miss Teen USA Florida pageant when I was 18 years old. I was so young and beautiful then. Anyway, there were these girls in the pageant with me. This one particular one, and she was a friend of mine, blonde hair, blue eyed, really nice girl, very, 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 very thin, probably a sub-zero in size. And she was very straight shaped. And that's where I first learned about the butt pads, because under her dress, under the evening gown section, she wore this, what looked like a Spanx situation, like a girdle type situation. And it gave her a really nice round buttock, and she didn't overdo it. It wasn't like too big for her body, but I was like, I'll be doggone butt pads. Anyway, meanwhile, some of the other ladies, especially, there were at least 2 other Black girls in that pageant when I was there. We needed no butt pads. Good morning. Anyway, but yeah, it could be that. All right. So let's talk some more about BBLs. I already talked to you about the process of the BBL. So now let's talk about the benefits. Clearly, it can make your butt look rounder and more aesthetically pleasing, right? Give you a nice little heart shape, especially if you get it done by someone who's experienced, if you get it done by a board certified plastic surgeon. But again, there are risks. Shador, can you put up one of the BBLs? Yeah. So here's an example of a BBL. This, in my opinion, now this part is my opinion, it's not evidence-based. In my opinion, this BBL does not look nice. It doesn't look natural. It's not blending nicely with her thighs. And it looks somewhat like a caricature, in my opinion. Okay. It's an aesthetic surgery, to each his own. But some of the risks of having BBLs, the biggest risk is, yeah, you can get infection, of course. And we know that the BBLs are being done right there around where bowel movements come out, right around the anus, around the rectum. So certainly you can get infections like E. coli if you're not at a sterile procedure. You can also get bleeding. You can get deformity. Okay. Maybe they put 300 cc's or milliliters of fat in one cheek and 500 milliliters in the other. Or perhaps they put the same amount in both cheeks, but then you develop fat necrosis, meaning some of the fat cells pass away. And now you have some lumps, bumps, and some deformities. These are just some of the risks, cosmetic risks. But then the more serious one would be, of course, losing your life. Again, it is the most fatal cosmetic procedure, even among plastic surgeons. It was reported that 3% of plastic surgeons have experienced at least a death from a BBL. And by some studies, 1 in 3,000 people who were getting BBLs were losing their lives. This is a Florida report, which caused Florida to change some of its situations, some of its regulations. So one regulation, I know that Florida had done this one for a while, is using ultrasounds, because a big risk factor is getting a fat embolism, meaning when you're injecting this fat, when the physicians are injecting the fat under the skin, if it goes into one of the blood vessels in the buttock muscle, then it can carry fat up to the lungs, the heart, and you can pass away with the fat embolism. Okay. And people do pass away, especially if you're going to one of these high volume, low budget clinics. So it's recommended by that if you have a surgeon who's doing BBLs, no more than 3 a day. Okay, so you can take your time and be thorough. But some of these clinics, like at these malls, these strip malls with all of these, low budget, high volumes, they might do over 10 a day. Okay, and steps actually can get missed, and you can pass away. You're more likely to pass away if you're going to a clinic where they have high volumes. And so, if you are going to get a BBL, if that's your choice, please research the doctor, make sure it's a board certified plastic surgeon, and ask the questions. How many BBLs do you do a day? How many fatalities have you had? What are some of the complications? Ask the questions as far as recovery. And I certainly recommend, that you don't do the travel medicine where you're going abroad. I know that it's less expensive that way, but cheap is expensive. Okay. Barato es caro. And so you might go and save money, but it's not worth your life. Okay. And then when you come back to the States, a lot of doctors don't like to go behind other doctors and doing BBLs. And so you might have trouble finding care. And here's one cautionary tale. Shador, if we can play this clip. This is a young lady, two sisters actually, who went to Miami to get their, one was getting her second BBL in liposuction. She'd had a second baby, so she wanted to go get her BBL refreshed. Her sister was getting some cosmetic surgery as well. She went to a recovery house, the sisters did. One sister is alive. The other sister passed away after the BBL. Let's play that clip, Shador, please.
Hi, guys. So our flight leaves at 9:25. Is currently 7 o'clock. 7:30. Yeah, we're gonna make another motherfucking
salad, so I could meet the BMI requirements. I need to detox, eat salads, and drink lots of water. So we finally arrived in Miami. The flight was not long at all. By the time I woke up, we were landing. We are on our way to the recovery home. It's Tequila's recovery home. I'm very excited. So this is me and my sister's room. We made it to Tequila's recovery home. It's so bomb. We'll be stocked with everything that you need. This is me and my sister's room. She'll be in the recliner because she's getting. Y'all, so I am running on 30 minutes of sleep. I thought I was gonna be up with that little coffee, but I guess the fuck not. We are on our way to Avon, her and my sister's yacht, and I'm a little delusional, but it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. I'm gonna make it through this.
Yeah. And that young lady, mother of two, Scar is her name. Her sister who went with her is Barbie, but Scar is the one who's no longer alive. Just trying to enhance herself, just trying to be more beautiful. But it's a cautionary tale of when beauty kills. I will say that it sounds like she actually did go to a plastic surgeon. I don't know the details of her plastic surgeon. According to Scar's sister, Barbie, she said that she was given a medicine that was not prescribed to her. Scar was given a medicine that was not prescribed to Scar at the recovery house. We don't know that to be a fact, but this is from Barbie's perspective. So she thinks that she was given that money. The plastic surgeon has cut off his notifications, so we haven't heard anything from him. Understandably so. Now we're talking about a medical legal situation. So we don't know her cause of death. There's an autopsy underway, and so I'll definitely update you as I find out. But it's just one of those things. Young, beautiful lady, children, full life ahead of her. She had a career, just trying to enhance herself, But is it worth it? So just make sure you weigh the pros and the cons in doing different procedures. And if you have any comments about her, just put them in the chat. And as we keep moving, if we have time, we'll talk about some. If you have any further questions about BBLs, then again, for the live Q&A where I spend the whole time, make sure you click the link in the description. Just check our link for membership, and we'll have our live Q&A every month, plus the members only videos. But yeah, that one just takes me out each time, Shador.
Dr. Shout out to our new member, Miss Angela.
Hi, Miss Angela. Oh, thank you for joining the membership, Miss Angela. Welcome.
And she said it's not worth the risk.
It's not worth the risk. Yeah, you know what, Miss Angela, let me tell you. So I agree with you, but I have to be careful. Because sometimes it's easy to judge. Now, for this, I do say it's not worth the risk because we're talking about the most fatal cosmetic surgery, period. But for different things people do to enhance themselves, I'm often guilty of being out. Why are they doing that? They don't need to do that. That doesn't make sense. Stay the way God made you. But sometimes if you stop and look, Miss Angela, it's easy to say that if you don't have that particular issue with yourself. For example, I know when I learned that people are getting fake cheekbones, and I was cheekboned before. Shador, you know this by a friend of mine. She touched my face. It was a nice white friend of mine. And I'm like, you touched my face. She said, yeah, those are your real cheekbones, aren't they? I said, yeah. I didn't know at that time people were getting fake cheekbones. She's like, yeah, well, I get fillers. And so in my mind, I'm like, that is so dumb. Why would people do that? But I have to stop, Miss Angela, and think, okay, well, I have high cheekbones. So of course I think it's dumb. But for people, like Shador, for example, hey, Shador, let's call you out. People like Shador, listen, if y'all ever see Shador's hair pressed, it goes all the way down to her hip bone. She doesn't care. She throws it back in the ponytail anyway. But Shador might sit around and look at people and be like, I don't know why they get weave. Why do people get fake hair? Be happy with what you got. Well, Shador's hair, she never said that, but Shador's hair is all the way down to the ground. So it's easier for her to say that because she has hair. So then I think about that with the BBLs. Again, that's a little different because of the fatality. So I am with you on that. I think whether I had a bottom or not, but because, I personally, Lord knows, I don't need a BBL, that makes it easy for me to judge. But either way, I do agree specifically with BBLs, it's not worth the risk. But I am also very sensitive to people who, need enhancement of their self-esteem. But you definitely need to do the work on the inside before the outside. Make sure you're seeing a therapist, a counselor, to make sure you're doing the work for the right reasons. Because no matter how many augmentations or upgrades you do to your physical self, it's truly not going to change the inside if there's a baseline problem. Yeah. And thank you for joining. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Shall we talk about our next topic? Brandi Glanville. Now, Brandi Glanville was on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and she's a former model, and she was really a firecracker and a mess starter on that show. There was a big controversy about her and with Denise Richards, who now has a show called Denise Richards Wild Things, which is actually pretty interesting. They were you call them rumor, so whatever you want to call them, but Brandi said out of her mouth that they were intimate, even though Denise was married to a man and is married to that man. Also, she, called out Maloof, one of the characters, about her alleged infertility issues. And Brandi definitely is seen with slurred speech, drinking, just acting a mess and being mean on the show. Nevertheless, Brandi Glanville is a model, a retired model, I suppose. And she's been open about all the fillers and things that she's had done on her face. And now she has really a deformed face, a lot of lumps, bumps, and she believes that she's had possibly a facial parasite. Let's play this clip and let's talk about, is it a parasite? Is it stress-induced angioedema? We'll touch on these things. I want y'all to tell me in the chat, do you think she had a parasite or nah? Do you think it was just too much fillers gone wrong?
All right. Before we start this clip, I'd like to free a shout out or thank you to D Razor for your super chat.
Oh, thank you, D Razor. I appreciate the support. Yes, we appreciate the support of the channel. And y'all know we keep showing up here every Monday, noon Eastern Standard Time, to give you evidence-based medicine on these hot health headlines. And then for a baseline, make sure that if you have not joined us on YouTube, come on and join the over 840,000 subscribers we have. We're trying to get to 1 million. Come on, help us get to 1 million. And I promise you, I give you easy to understand videos on all types of things, not just kidney disease, but we talk about high blood pressure. We talk about how to lower blood pressure naturally. We talk about lupus. We talk about top drinks for repairing kidneys, 15 foods to repair your kidneys. We talk about the top exercises for lowering blood pressure naturally. We talk about stress. We talk about work stress. I'm telling y'all, I have hundreds of videos, and I really break it down in a way that will help you when you go to your doctors to advocate for yourselves and to really understand medicine. So I appreciate you for the super chat. I really do. Thank you for your support. All right.
Moving on.
Let's see what Brandi Glanville is putting down.
What happened to her face? Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Brandi Glanville is sharing this photo of her disfigured face. She captioned the image, "Sick of it. Look at the puffiness and craters."
I have a parasite that jumps around my face. It lives in the skin in my face. It'll go and jump around to different places and just get lumpy in all the different places.
I've been in and out of the hospital this past year and a half, spent almost every dollar I have trying to figure it out, she writes. She also says it might be stress-induced edema. We showed the photo to dermatologist Dr. Michelle Henry. Could it be a parasite?
It could be a parasite. We know about things like scabies. Fleas could even do this.
The former model has been cast in and out of the popular Housewives franchise since 2011. She's notorious for causing lots of drama.
I will kill you. You do not want to talk to me like that.
Now this.
Yeah, she really is a beautiful lady at baseline, and this kind of gets to that whole point again. When beauty kills, no, she's not unalive, but when it actually kills your beauty, trying to get more and more beautiful with all of the different fillers. She said she's had all of her fillers dissolved at this point. And to be clear, I have not seen any doctor state that she actually does have a facial parasite. And of course, HIPAA is in effect. She has her privacy. But I cannot confirm that she's had a facial parasite. But, for some people, especially if they are, traveling abroad, or if they're getting procedures done in places that aren't necessarily authorized if they're getting procedures done by non-dermatologists or non-plastic surgeons, non-nurse practitioners, estheticians, people who are not actually certified to do the procedures, there could be a sterility issue. I know there are people who have Botox parties and filler parties, and I don't know if when people go to the parties, they're actually checking their credentials. Don't know. But it's possible to have a parasite that could, be introduced into your face through a needle somehow, potentially. But, I don't know. She says that she has a sour taste in her mouth, that the parasite jumps from side to side. I don't wish this on her for sure. But then the other thing she talks about is the stress-induced edema or stress-induced angioedema. And, for the angioedema, that is a very severe issue, a severe complication that can cause swelling around the eyes, lips, nose, throat even. Classically, it's done with, you can see it with a certain medication, a certain blood pressure medicine. Listen, if y'all can answer this, which medication or which class of blood pressure medications is notorious for causing angioedema? Ooh, you move to the front of the class. So if you know what class of blood pressure medicines can cause angioedema. So where you get really swollen lips, really swollen tongue, you can get swollen eyes, and it can actually lead to respiratory failure. I've had patients in the ICU with it. I've had patients who've lost their lives with it. And what I'm talking about is the angioedema that you get classically after a certain class of medications. It doesn't happen with most people, but when it does, it can be life-threatening. But a stress-induced one would be, just as the name suggests, having certain stresses that cause an edema or swelling of deeper tissues. I don't know if she has stress-induced angioedema. That's just another thing that Brandi mentioned. But, we're wishing her well. I hope she doesn't have a face parasite or stress-induced angioedema. And I hope that she is able to get her face looking in a way that's cosmetically pleasing to her. And that will help to, give her happiness and to raise her self-esteem. Brandi Glanville.
Yep. All right. Sheree chimed in. She says medications and pills like lisinopril.
You move to the front of the class. This is Sheree.
Yes,
move
Sheree.
to the front of the class. That's right. These are the ACE inhibitors, medicines ending in pril, lisinopril, ramipril, benazepril. Now, if you're taking a medicine that ends in pril, do not freak out. Don't go and toss your medicine out of the window, because and I also do prescribe that medication, by the way. By and large, most patients who get that medicine do very, very well. But if you happen to be in the small percentage of people and you have an allergy to that medication, then it can potentially cause you to have angioedema, this life-threatening swelling. So if you're taking lisinopril, even if you've been taking it for a while, any of the medicines ending in pril, and you notice your lips are getting bigger, tingling, tongue getting bigger, you're getting some tingling in your throat, call 911. Okay. If you have some Benadryl, I recommend you take Benadryl. And remember, now what I'm saying, actually talk to your doctor about what to do, because I'm giving information. For my patients, I recommend that they take Benadryl. But what I give you here is information, and it does not replace the advice of your doctor. It does not replace the advice of your doctor. But it's not something for you to sit at home and like take Benadryl and wait. No, call 911, because it's potentially life-threatening. Okay, you move to the front of the class. Medicines ending in pril. Oh, that was good. Ooh, I didn't know y'all would get that one. Okay, I love it. All right. It's Kidney Disease Awareness Month. Y'all know my board certified kidney doctor. So this is my favorite month of the year. It is, just to spread the information. But listen, if you're right here on my YouTube channel, Dr. Frita. If you go to my playlist, you'll see a kidney disease playlist. Honey, I have more videos on kidney disease than you could ever imagine. I break it down. So please check that out after you finish this live. But let's just go ahead and play a little piece of one of the videos where I talk about some of the top ways to protect your kidneys. I'm Dr. Frita, and today we're talking about how to prevent kidney disease. 10 tips that could save your life. I'm a board-certified nephrologist, which means I'm a kidney specialist. Taking care of kidney patients is what I do day in and day out. One of the toughest things about my job is when I have a patient with kidney failure and I'm starting that patient on dialysis for reasons I know could have been prevented. Over 30 million Americans have kidney disease, and most don't even know it. 1 in 3 is at risk. And yes, many of the causes of kidney disease are preventable. We know that diabetes and high blood pressure are the leading causes of kidney disease, and these are 2 illnesses that are potentially preventable and certainly manageable. But then there's a list longer than my arm of other causes. For example, did you know that dehydration could lead to kidney failure? Or taking excessive amounts of certain pain medications? Many of the lifestyle choices All right. can lead to kidney disease.
So please, you can check out that video, please, right here on the Dr. Frita YouTube channel after you finish watching this live. But listen, Shador, these med heads think they're so smart. Y'all think y'all so smart. Can y'all just kind of throw in the chat some ways that you can protect your kidney, some ways that you can prevent kidney disease? Let me see who else wants to come to the front of the class. But in that video, I go in detail. I give at least 10 ways to prevent kidney disease. And again, on my videos, I talk about foods that can help repair kidney disease, drinks, juicing that can do it. I talk about, I have one video on 9 medications that can be harmful to your kidneys and you don't even know it. And then my most recent video, please check this video out. I give you 8 strange kidney warning signs, okay, that can be confused with something else. And that was a very fun video. Y'all check that one out, please. All right, in this short little time, did my little med heads, my big brains come on here and say some ways that can prevent kidney disease?
Yes, I remember Miss Angela says water.
Absolutely. Yes. Dehydration. I literally have dialyzed people, put them on the dialysis machine because of severe dehydration. And you know, Miss Angela, by the time you actually feel the sensation of thirst, your kidneys are already dehydrated. Okay. You might be having prerenal azotemia. So yes, making sure you're well hydrated is a way. You know, for most people, 2 to 3 liters of water, or maybe 4 of the typical 16-ounce bottles of water per day, 4 to 6 of those. Some people say half of your ideal body weight in pounds in water. Consult with your doctor. But yes, drinking water is one way to prevent kidney disease. Good.
Yeah. Michelle says control blood pressure.
Hi, Michelle. Absolutely. High blood pressure is the second leading cause of kidney failure. And so if you maintain a good blood pressure, that can help. And I can help you if you get my book, Under Pressure, A Guide to Controlling High Blood Pressure. You can click the link in the description here, or the one-stop shop for getting my book and other things, my favorite things. Go to drfrita.com. Okay. I talk about not just medications for maintaining normal blood pressure. I also talk about holistic manners, lifestyle, slow, deep breathing, you know, different foods, low salt diet. I talk about natural remedies for lowering blood pressure, but absolutely maintaining a good blood pressure is another way to prevent kidney disease. Let's take a couple more before we move on. This is good. Y'all doing my job. I love it. Ways to protect your kidneys.
Logan. Hi, Logan. Logan says,
hi, Logan. Welcome back.
Eat veggies.
Eating veggies. Yes. Certain vegetables like the cruciferous vegetables. Like when I say cruciferous vegetables, I'm talking about cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, things of that nature. I'm also eating kale, eating spinach. You want to eat vegetables that have antioxidants that help to get rid of free radicals, help to decrease inflammation, and that can increase your blood flow to your kidney. So that's a good one, Logan. Thank you.
Sophie says with the blood pressure, also controlling your diabetes.
Very good. Thank you, Sophie. And diabetes is numero uno. Okay. That's the number 1 cause of kidney failure. So yes, making sure you maintain good blood sugars, having low carbs, high fiber, low added sugar, you know, in your diet, and knowing your numbers, knowing your hemoglobin A1C. Listen, the health fair that I did, Shador, this weekend, I met these really nice internal medicine doctors. These 2 young ladies, they were young. They were so fun. And they were from St. Mary's Hospital in Athens, Georgia. And not only were they doing blood pressure screenings, their table was right next to mine, they were actually doing hemoglobin A1Cs. And so I thought someone misspoke. I said, "Now, excuse me." I said, "Are y'all just doing like, you know,
AccuChecks, blood sugar checks? She's like, no, we're doing hemoglobin A1Cs. And we know that when you go to the doctor and you get a blood sugar, a blood glucose, that gives you a snapshot in time, okay, of what your blood sugar is. So if you had donuts for breakfast, you know you're wrong. But if you had something really sweet for breakfast, that might give you a high blood sugar. That won't really reflect what your blood sugar is most of the time. But that hemoglobin A1C, honey, it tells all the stories. It is the average of what your blood sugar levels have been running over 3 months. Okay. So like when patients come in, Shador, oh yeah, my hemoglobin A1C was high, but yeah, I just ate some ice cream. No, it's telling me what you did for the last 3 months. And so they were doing hemoglobin A1Cs. Make sure you know your numbers and know if you're pre-diabetic, diabetic, or if you're in a good place. But yes, that's another good one. All right. So we'll keep moving. And yeah, check out that video. And it's Kidney Disease Awareness Month. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you share these videos, share the knowledge. And please, if you haven't already, give us a like and share this video. Hey, Facebook, how's Facebook doing?
Facebook's going good. They're here.
Good. Thank y'all for joining. You're the first group, okay? But we're gonna keep it going. All right. So now let's talk about Wendy Williams. Shout it out. How you doing? Anyway, we know that we've been covering Wendy Williams quite a bit. Full disclosure, yes, I'm a fan. I ain't studying what y'all say. Love me some Wendy Williams. We know that she's been under a guardianship. She's been deemed permanently incapacitated by her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey. However, we've been seeing her on interviews like on The Breakfast Club, Don Lemon, Hollywood Unlocked with Jason Lee. We've been seeing her speaking quite a bit. She was even on The View last Friday with the telephone conversation, and her memory seems pretty good. She doesn't seem to meet the definition of being permanently incapacitated from someone outside looking in. Well, Wendy did one thing, something else. She actually went to the hospital, okay, where she was given a capacity test, okay, to see if she like had mental competence to make decisions, something like that. And she passed it. She aced it. Perfect score, 10 out of 10. Let's play that clip. And I want you to tell me, in the chat, do you think that Wendy Williams needs a permanent guardianship? And we know she has a history, admittedly, of alcohol overuse. She's been clean, according to Wendy, for years. But even if someone does have alcohol issues, alcohol overuse issues, does that automatically mean that they need a guardian? What should be done with Wendy Williams? Can I see her back on the purple couch? All right, let's play this clip.
Happened when you got to the hospital, because there were claims that they did a test and she got 10 out of 10 on the test. So what happened when she actually got to the hospital?
So according to what was told, the guardian was there and Wendy's attorney. And I think there was a little back and forth as whether she was going to allow Wendy, the guardian, to get evaluated. The doctor saw there was a difference between the guardian's opinion and her lawyer's opinion. And the doctor had to go to his legal department from the hospital to see how he was going to do it. He received the clearance for the evaluation, and then Wendy took 2 evaluations, and pretty much they're evaluating whether she has competency and is able to make decisions, and she passed both tests.
What does the 10-10 mean? 10 out of 10?
10 out of 10, correct. 10 questions asked, 10 questions answered correctly.
I mean, they ask me simple things like, who's the president? You know what I'm saying? What's my birth date?
I have a question for you guys too. So there are reports that this exam that you did can't be used in moving forward to prove the that you're not incapacitated. Can you clear that up or explain how this will be used?
That's actually false. That's a medical exam done by an independent doctor by a very well-known hospital. You can use that for the court.
Okay. All right. So there's some nuances in that answer. So yeah, so she got a 10 out of 10. The test I'm familiar with is the AMTS, the abbreviated mental test score, where, as Wendy says, you get asked 10 simple questions, and they're simple if you don't have delirium or dementia. I've given that test to people who really spoke well, had a clear presentation, well-groomed, good hygiene, and they couldn't for the life of them remember what year they were born, or they kept saying presidents from, 2 terms back. So it is a nice screen to be able to quickly assess if someone has significant cognitive impairment. Okay. And that discrepancy, like when, you know, the person from Breakfast Club said, I heard you can't use it. And then I believe that was Wendy's friend, her good friend Gina, if I'm not mistaken, who answered, no, you can't use it in court. They're actually both right. So that test in and of itself, if indeed she had the abbreviated mental test score, that all alone is not enough to totally rule out or rule in dementia or delirium, but it certainly is a part of the building block. And yes, it is something that will support for Wendy Williams that she does not have significant cognitive impairment. Very likely she will need more testing, but it is a tool to support that. And yes, it is admissible in court. But a more detailed evaluation would be required to say, you know, absolutely, you know, does she have some type of an incapacitation or permanent incapacitation? But either way, this feels like a move in the right direction. It's interesting. Sabrina Morrissey, Wendy Williams' guardian, has put out that Wendy does have freedom. She can come and go as she pleases to a certain degree in the luxury prison, as Wendy calls it. Yet, reportedly, and this was reported by Wendy Williams and her niece, Alex Finney, the establishment, the place where she's being held, the memory clinic, is actually suing Wendy's niece, Alex, because after the hospitalization, they went out to dinner or to eat, to celebrate, and they say that Alex took Wendy without permission, essentially an adult napping. So we'll see. We'll keep it going. But so yeah, so this test talked about the capacity. And if you just look, I have on my short form content, I have a short here on YouTube, Facebook, I've posted it there as well. Replay crew, y'all know y'all can get it. But if you look, just this past week, I did post Wendy Williams and what the definition of mental capacity is and 5 things to know. So make sure you check that out. All right. Any comments as we get ready to move on to our 5-minute health check, Shador?
Yes, Miss Judy.
Hi, Miss Judy.
She said if she really was clean for years and passed the test, she probably doesn't need a guardian.
Yeah. And you know, a financial advisor, she said she would have that anyway. I'm really more thinking she should have a coach to help to keep her sober, things of that nature. But if you think about all of the people who you may know or know of who are functional alcohol use overusers who are holding down jobs, if we went and rounded up everyone who had an alcohol issue and gave them a guardianship, we wouldn't even have enough people to fill the workforce, I believe. So where is the line drawn? Yeah, but it doesn't seem like it needs to be kind of locked up and to be labeled as permanently incapacitated. That seems like a false diagnosis. And Sabrina Morrissey, we're looking at you.
Yeah, and you, M. Bailey, you basically echo what she said. I think she needed an alcohol prevention coach, but otherwise, I think she's okay.
We're on the same page, M. Bailey. We're on the same page. Yeah, that's good. You know, and of course, we'll let the professionals figure it out. But thank goodness Wendy Williams has loved ones like her sister Wanda, her niece Alex. She has her son. Kevin's young. Kevin Jr. is young, but he still is someone who supports her. Her daddy, who's 94 years old, her friend Gina, and all of the Wendy fans like me in support of her.
Luana has a thought, Dr. Frita. Luana says, Luana, evaluate the guardian.
Child. Okay, thank you. You said a word. And let me tell you about this guardian, Sabrina Morrissey. Reportedly, Wendy is not her only ward. She's not the only person whom Sabrina Morrissey is looking out for, being the guardian of. She has reportedly 24 other people where she's the guardian. She's in control of their finances, in control of their properties, in control of when they go to their doctor's appointments, in control of all of it. Okay. So 24 people. So we definitely need to assess, especially if she's making statements that end up being proven to be incorrect, like Wendy Williams having frontotemporal dementia. Make sure you check out right here on my YouTube channel, guys, my playlist on Wendy Williams, what's happening to Wendy Williams. I go into detail about frontotemporal dementia, alcohol-induced dementia. It's on a separate video. Another video has what happened to Wendy Williams' feet. Okay, I talk about lymphedema. I talk about the science behind addiction. So if you're a Wendy Williams fan and you honestly want to have an idea from an evidence-based perspective, what's going on with her health, I have my playlist. If you go to Dr. Frita YouTube, and you can get really a lot of information on Wendy Williams, thyroid disease also, both the actual diagnoses and the ones that I think may be misdiagnoses like frontotemporal dementia. Still a way to educate yourselves. All right. So we're going to keep moving. Okay. We're going to finish up with the 5-minute health check. This is where I just kind of run through some of the headlines. I'll sometimes talk about drug recalls, food recalls, certain infestations, things of that nature. It's just some things to check out in the news. So I'll do a quick run through and then we'll wrap this thing up. And for my members, before I head out, if y'all have a couple questions, put them in. Certainly super chats, we'll catch them and we'll just do just a couple. But again, make sure you click the link in the description and you join the membership if you want to really have an in-depth conversation where I'm not just doing all of my talking, but where you get a chance to ask me the questions and I answer you on your own things that you're curious about your health, about family members. And remember, what I give is information, so it doesn't replace the advice of your physician who knows you, but I will give you evidence-based information. Hola. All right, Shador, let's see what's going on with this 5-minute health check.
All right. Measles cases continue to rise across the U.S.
Y'all, this drives me crazy, the measles, because it is a preventable disease. We thought that it was eradicated. We declared it to be eradicated in the year 2000 because we know that with 2 doses of the measles vaccine, you have a 97% protection against the measles. And the measles is not just about getting a rash. It's not even just about getting red eyes and runny nose. Measles can cause you to be unalive, okay? It can cause encephalitis. It can cause hearing loss. And prior to the measles vaccine, we were losing hundreds of people in the United States every single year, millions worldwide. Well, now less people are getting vaccinated. The measles are on the rise. So listen, we've known in West Texas that we've had the outbreak, at least 259 cases, and we had our first person to lose their life from the measles virus, first person in over a decade. It had been since 2015. And it was a young school-aged boy who was reportedly unvaccinated. Now we've had reportedly 2 deaths from the measles. And here's the thing. Most people who are infected with the measles are unvaccinated. Okay. 95% of people who are infected are unvaccinated. And measles is one of the most contagious infectious diseases we know. If you are unvaccinated and you're exposed to someone with the measles, you have a 9 out of 10 chance of getting the measles. But again, if you are vaccinated with 2 doses of the measles vaccine, 97% protection. So consult with your doctor, understand that this outbreak is real. RFK Jr., who again has been documented to be someone who is anti-vax, okay, is documented, okay? I'm not making this up so he can spin and say things how he wants to say, but he's put the misinformation out there. Here's the thing. He was saying, oh yeah, outbreaks and measles happen every year. They do. But already we've had at least 300 measles cases in the United States. It's just March, okay? We're just in March, St. Patrick's Day. Y'all see my green? Already we have more measles cases in 2025 than we had in all of last year, 2024. Okay, you tell me what that means. So the more people who avoid getting the measles vaccine, the more we'll see the measles. Okay, that just follows logic. And we have newborns. We have people who are children less than 1 year old who are really vulnerable because it's not recommended that you get the measles vaccine until you're 1 year of age. Okay, and so young, the elderly, pregnant people. So please consult with your doctors, educate yourself from sources that give you evidence-based information. Hello, and make sure you protect yourself and protect your community. All right.
Right. Think sugar-free slushies are healthier?
Okay, so we always are talking about sugar-free, right? Because we know diets that are high in sugar, high in added sugar can increase your risk for diabetes, heart disease, so forth and so on. But here's the truth about some of these sugar-free slushies, okay? They have been found to cause health issues, especially in children less than 4. Okay, a lot of these sugar-free slushies have something called glycerol. And what the glycerol can do is it can cause children less than 4 to have a severe drop in their blood sugar within that first hour. They can get drowsy. And so this could actually be dangerous. So make sure you watch your labels, you look for glycerol, and you consult with your doctor before making diet changes. And yeah, so all things that seem healthy aren't necessarily healthy. Watch out for the sugar-free slushes in your young children, especially less than 4.
Utah's war on fluoride, protection or damage?
Y'all, Utah got me messed up. Do y'all know that Utah is the first state in history that's planning on banning fluoride in water? What you say? What are they talking about? We know that having fluoride in our drinking water helps to decrease tooth decay. Okay, it decreases cavities by 25%. Do you know what a mess people's teeth would look like if they didn't have fluoride in their water? Well, the Republican governor, but Spencer Cox, is planning on banning fluoride from water. Okay. And I'm really not sure of the motives of the cost, but what I can tell you is that it's been proven scientifically that fluoride in drinking water decreases cavities by 25%, 25%, especially in children. What they need to be doing in general is trying to get things like lead and other toxins out of the water, as opposed to taking something out of the water that's actually healthy. But let's see. We'll see what the head of HHS has to say about this. Child.
Is your smart ring the key to early cancer detection?
Okay. I know y'all have smartphones, smart rings. Some of y'all are watching me on your smartphones. Hey, y'all. Thank you. Listen, there was a nurse practitioner who has a smart ring, and it keeps up with her body's, like heart rate and breathing patterns. And she started getting these metrics that were really off, these health metrics. And so that caused her to go get herself checked out. And she learned that she actually had cancer. Okay. She had Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so her thought is that if it weren't for this smart ring that was helping her to know that her health metrics were off, she's saying that she probably would not have gone to get checked out. So just food for thought. We have all this technology, and sometimes it seems like too much. But in her case, she's thinking that the smart ring could have saved her life. So that's an interesting story, and I certainly pray that she does well. That's it. All right. Those are the 5-minute health checks. All right, y'all. I gave y'all an earful, didn't I, today? Lord help. Pray for the people. All right. So Shador, as we head on out, if we have any little quick comments, certainly we give members priority, super chats priority, then we'll go ahead and deal with that. Make sure you give us a like on Facebook, give us a like in YouTube. Replay crew, one time for the replay crew. Give us a like, share us, please, 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 please. And also, listen, while I'm talking about things to do, my one-stop shop is my website, drfrita.com. There you'll be able to have a concierge visit with me. Yeah, if you want to talk to me and get some one-on-one information where I actually give you a history and give you information based on your personal information, then you can click the link in the description or go to drfrita.com. And yes, I have a telehealth concierge service where we have really great success, and you can talk to me from anywhere in the world. Also, listen, y'all, I like to give out freebies. Ooh, Shador, I didn't even mention this. I did a talk with my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, with a different chapter. This was Stone Mountain chapter with one of my friends. Shout out nurse practitioner Shanta Bullitt. But we talked about hot flashes, cool conversations. That was the best conversation, where we educated on the different hormonal pathways for hot flashes, the ages, the triggers, and medical treatments, as well as holistic treatments. Okay. For menopause, for libido, all of those things. Freebie. They gave me the greatest gift for being the moderator of the panel. It's a basket. It's so heavy, I could hardly handle it. So I don't have a heavy basket for y'all, but I do have a freebie. I have a free download, 10 healthy habits for a better you and a better life. You can click the link in the description, or again, always, you can go to my one-stop shop, drfrita.com. This is where I give you the healthy habits that I use to try to live my healthiest, happiest life. And you can download it for free, and you can have it as a guide. All right, Shador, any questions as we slide out the door? And again, the live Q&A, if you join the top tier of our membership. And thank you for our new member, Miss Angela. Who else do we have? We had Miss Kim in here today. We had Miss Rosalind. Thank you to all of you members for joining. But if y'all want to join them and be a part of the membership community, then we'll do our live Q&A every month. We have, custom emojis, loyalty badges, and definitely members only videos where I slip and give y'all some behind the scenes action. All right, what do we have as we slide out the door?
Thank you to Luana for your super sticker.
Thank you, Luana. I appreciate you. I appreciate your participation.
Miss Angela, she did share earlier she's going to see you today shortly, Dr. Freedom, but she has a question.
Great. All right, I can't wait.
If you had the measles as a child, should you get vaccinated?
Consult with your doctor, but here's what we say classically. If you've had the measles as a child, then you likely already have immunity and you will not need to get vaccinated. Now, some people who become very immunocompromised will lose their immunity. And so to be sure, there's a blood test that can be done to check if you still are immune. But likely if you actually have the measles, and that's why we say a lot of people born before 1957 likely don't need the measles vaccine, because honey, almost all the kids were getting measles then. But yeah, to confirm it, get a blood test if you have a question. But typically, if you've had measles as a child, you have immunity usually for a lifetime.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Frita.
That was a good question too.
It was. All right, Dr. Frita, don't you have a podcast?
Oh, hey, boo. I do have a podcast. Listen, so I know a lot of you like to see our faces. You like to see Shador and me and look at the contour of our faces while we give these YouTube lives. But if you just want to listen and be on the go, we have a podcast where the Healthy Happy Life podcast with Dr. Frita. And you can be jogging, walking, folding clothes, mowing the lawn, in a long car trip, and you can just put on the podcast and you can download it. We're on Apple, we're on Google, we're on Spotify, anywhere where you download the podcast. Please do this favor for me. Go to the podcast, listen, give us a 5-star review if you think it's great. You will think it's great. Give us a 5-star and go ahead. Yeah, download the podcast. It's a different way to get healthy information, and share it, please.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Frita.
Thank you. All right, that's it. That's Medical Monday. We'll see you next week. Same bad time, same bad place. Thank you for joining us and making Monday your healthiest day of the week. Thank you, Shador.
You're welcome.
All right.